Depression, anxiety, stress. 100% workable solution is here. Hello and welcome to the channel Sudhir KV. We have a serious topic today. Depression. It is a complete session to resolve depression from its roots. Stay tuned. Depression is a common illness worldwide, with more than 264 million people affected, and numbers are increasing every day. Be alert. Don't be one of them. As per research statistics of WHO, every year close to 2.8 million people die due to suicide provoked by depression, and many more are suffering from serious illness. What are the symptoms of depression? Sleeplessness, low appetite, low energy level, low concentration, abrupt daily behavior, too much obsession of self-esteem, frequent thoughts of revenge, disdain, or suicide. Have you ever observed any of these symptoms in your daily life? When you go to bed every night, do you get a sound sleep? How's your diet? Whatever you eat, could you digest it properly? Do you feel energetic throughout the day? How's your level of concentration? Do you get easily distracted? How's your daily behavior? Have you ever observed it closely? When you talk to other people in any situation, in any circumstances, do you always remain cool and calm? Do you overthink about your self-esteem? Do you have some disturbing thoughts inside your mind, maybe for revenge or to disdain someone? This can be a serious notification. What are the causes of depression? The persistent feeling of sadness, fear, disinterest. The persistent feeling of anger, rage, hate, insult, dissatisfaction, or extreme obsession of something or someone. This obsession for something or someone has a crucial role to play. If that obsession is not fulfilled, it generates a feeling of sadness, maybe fear of losing that something or someone, or maybe you are not interested in that someone or that something, but still you have to carry the weight. That burden produces a lot of anger, maybe rage, hate, or feeling of insult, feeling of dissatisfaction. All those feelings in a combination become reason behind the depression. What is the science of depression? What science has to say? An abrupt combination of biological, psychological, and social sources of distress. Sources of distress. Yes, sources of distress that may cause changes in brain functions and neural circuits and may crystallize the feeling of depression. An abrupt combination of biological, psychological, and social sources of distress that may cause changes in brain functions and neural circuits. Treatment is usually medication, talk therapy, or a combination of the two. Such treatments may normalize the brain changes associated with depression. May normalize, there is no certainty There is no pill available in the medical science that you can just take and become happy. If you are very angry, there is no pill that you can just take and become cool and calm. There is no pill that can resolve your emotional dissatisfaction or rage or feeling of revenge. Nothing at all. The harsh reality is depression is a conundrum for science. It is an unsolvable problem for science. Why? Because depression is a crinkled form of human emotion. Yes, depression is a crinkled form of human emotion. Science is helpless in front of emotions. Science cannot create a pill that you can take and transform your emotional state from sadness to happiness. Then what to do? How to prevent oneself from depression? If someone is already in the state of depression, then how to overcome from that state? It's a really crucial question. It needs a real answer. It's not easy for medical science to resolve depression because it is an emotion. But hey, it's damn easy for your mind because it's emotion. Yes, it's damn easy for your mind to save you from depression. That too quickly within minutes. How? Let's understand this. Have you ever seen an unemotional person getting depressed? No, they never be. Have you ever seen an unemotional person either? No, they don't even exist. Every person living on this planet Earth holds a kind of emotion inside his mind, his body, and his or her whole existence. It's not an exaggeration if we say that being human is being emotional. Does this mean that all humans are susceptible to get drenched into depression sooner or later? Answer is yes, provided they fulfill with the conditions of becoming depressed. Provided they fulfill with the conditions of becoming depressed. Now the obvious question is, why anyone will fulfill those conditions? No one wants to become sad. No one wants to become depressed. Then why anyone will fulfill the conditions to become depressed? Strange, isn't it? The tragedy is no one fulfills those conditions by their own wish. Yes, no one fulfills those conditions by their own wish. Still, those conditions get fulfilled. But by whom? Who is fulfilling those conditions? To drag someone towards depression. Could you guess? Yes, all those conditions are fulfilled by their own minds without their consent. All those conditions are fulfilled by their own minds without their consent. What? How is that possible? Well, that's not only possible, but it is happening with every other person every day. It's happening with every other person every day. Yes, it is the reality of life. But why their own mind goes against their own will? Before exploring answer to this question, let's understand that what are those conditions really? What are the conditions that create depression? Conditions that your troubled mind fulfills without your conscious permission for igniting depression. What are those conditions? Your mind does not give value to what you have. It doesn't give nourishment to your relationships. It doesn't give time to your creativity. It doesn't give gratitude to anyone. It doesn't give empathy to anyone. Somehow, your mind has compelled you not to value for what you have, not to nourish your relationships which are existing in your life. You keep browsing for something else. You don't value for what you have, but you keep expecting something else. You doesn't give time to your creativity to create something good in your life. You don't feel thankful. You don't sympathize others. Your mind doesn't express reasons to love you, doesn't express reasons to respect you, reasons to trust you. Your mind doesn't express reasons to care for you. Maybe your mind is expressing something opposite of all this. Rather than hate, rather than love, it is expressing hate. Rather than respect, it is criticizing others. Rather than trusting, it is always doubting others. And as a response, other people also behave in the same way. But why your mind is compelling? Your mind doesn't learn to value your responsibilities. Your mind doesn't learn to improve your competencies. It doesn't learn to improve your communication. It doesn't learn to improve your behavior. Your belief systems. Rather, somehow it is creating a kind of nonsense through negative thoughts, roaming around problems and making you irresponsible, incompetent, making a lot of miscommunication, misbehavior, or getting indulged into wrong beliefs. Your mind doesn't care about innovation and ideas. It doesn't think beyond problems. It doesn't express goodwill to anyone. It doesn't care for others' emotions. Your mind doesn't tolerate people who give you suggestions. Rather, it remains engaged in complaining. And the list of such conditions go on. Your mind keeps meeting all these conditions at subconscious level or unconscious level, very deep inside your whole existence. You don't know about it, but when these conditions are fulfilled, they start creating a lot many changes in your thought process, in your belief system, at psychological level, at physical level. And you start doing more of self-talk. Self-criticism, self-hatred, self-doubt. Or even you start doing self-loathing. You start losing confidence. You start overthinking for your self-esteem. You start overthinking for your self-worth, self-pride, or even self-ego. You start confining your emotions around self-pity or self-misery. That's a really worse impact of emotional state of depression. You start driving your life with emotional rage or emotional dilemma. What to do? Before getting into the solution, let's revisit the problem situation once more. Just think a bit why students fall into depression. Emotional pressure, pressure to perform. Why couples fall into depression? Emotional pressure. Pressure of incompatibility, pressure of conflicting thoughts, and so on. Why employees fall into depression? Work pressure, peer pressure, work environment pressure. All that a combination that makes emotional pressure. Why businessmen fall into depression? Again, emotional pressure created by marketplace, created by competitors, created by customers. Why anyone else fall into depression? Emotional pressure created by some or the other situation of life. Can you find any other reason? Not at all. So the solution is clear. We must ease out our emotions. We must ease out our emotions in a way that it could never reach to the threshold of depression. Now it's time to think about our emotional threshold of depression. What is that emotional threshold? Emotional threshold of depression is that how much of emotional pressure you can handle before you blast out and fall into the mode of depression. Yes, how much pressure? How much emotional pressure you can handle before you blast and fall into the mode of depression. Depression is an intense emotional state in which you either become too violent or become too silent. Storms of negative thoughts become so powerful inside your mind that your mind loses cognitive control. It means it loses the sense of right or wrong. It just quickly follows the commands of your flaming emotions at a lightning fast speed. During this period, all your thought bubbles get confined within that one intense emotion, which is hurting you from within. Yes, all your thought bubbles get confined within that one intense emotion, which is hurting you from within. This confinement makes you completely blind from the good world still present outside. With every passing fraction of second, you become more and more anxious. More and more anxious. The level of your anxiety keeps on increasing on an exponential graph towards the threshold of depression. And then the bubbles of consequences hurt you more, hurt you again and again, and you get trapped inside the walls of your reoccurring emotional state, in which you always remain within the range of threshold of depression. You get trapped inside the walls of your reoccurring emotional state, which always remains within the range of threshold to fall into depression. Now we know the most amazing, quick and permanent solution. This solution really works. What is that solution? If we can make a firm self-commitment that in any case, at any emotional intensity, at any level of emotional wound, we will keep our emotional state below the range of threshold of depression, then we can never get confined in the trap of depression. If we can make a firm self-commitment that in any case, at any emotional intensity, at any level of emotional wound, we will keep our emotional state below the range of threshold of depression, then we can never get confined in the trap of depression. Easy to say, but is that easy to implement? I know you are thinking this question. Yes, it is not easy to implement. Surprisingly, yes, it is not easy to implement. But it can become easy if you just remember your self commitment. What was your self commitment? Do you still remember? To keep your emotional state below the threshold of depression at any cost, in any case. People around you, situations, external world in which you are living can hurt your emotions, self esteem, self pride, self respect, but they can never hurt your self commitment. Your self commitment is your self ownership. Your self commitment to hold your emotions below the flaming threshold of depression develops a rock solid emotional strength within you. Yes, it develops a rock solid emotional strength within you. Your self commitment is your ultimate power. Remember, your self commitment is your ultimate power. Use this power to defeat all your emotional tunnels. Emotional tunnels which are triggered because of any external stimulus and hitting directly your emotional pain points. Use this power to defeat all adversities that are blowing up your mind. Use this power of self commitment to defeat your fear, failure, criticism, insult, and every other emotional pain. In any of these situations, remember to keep your self commitment firm and solid. Your self commitment to keep your emotional state below the range of threshold of depression will make you win the world. Thank you for watching and subscribing our channel. Stay tuned for more. Remember your self-commitment. Keep your emotional state always below the threshold of depression. Live a depression-free life. Thanks once again for watching. All the best.